I want to know, how many of you guys are runners in here? Anybody run track, cross country? Billy, I know you do. All right, so a few of you guys. You guys are some special people, because I'm going to be honest, I hate running. Like, absolutely hate it. So when I was in high school, I actually played basketball, right? I wasn't playing soccer, like lacrosse, or any of that, because too much running. And so I played basketball, and I played Shiva. Any Shiva players in here? Come on, there's got to be a few of you. Like Solderton, Harleysville area? None of you play Shiva? All right, if you live in Solderton, Harleysville area, go play Shiva. So that's our rec league in that area. And so in middle school, I was on a team, and we made it to the championship. And I was super excited, especially as a middle schooler. Like, all of my friends, all your friends come to the games. It's at the high school, so it's in like a cool gym, not like the dinky little elementary school gyms. And we were playing an undefeated team. And so we were playing this undefeated team. So I was like, I got to be ready. I mean, I got to be like in the best shape. I got to be ready. And so for like a month before, I was running every day. I was working out. I was eating well. I'm just kidding. That didn't happen at all. I decided 2 days before the championship game, I'm going to go on a run because that's going to get me in shape. I'm going to be ready. I got to be in the best shape. And if you are runners, anybody knows that running 2 days before the game did absolutely nothing. If anything, it probably made it worse. I probably was more at risk of getting hurt doing that. And so I went on a run 2 days before the game, probably like half a mile, because again, hate running. And so to this day, my parents still like to pick fun at me and be like, remember that time you thought like going on a run? So I hate running. I don't like running. But I think so often a lot of us are running from something. A lot of us are running from something. And I got really good at running from stuff when I was in high school. And so tonight I titled my message, Stop Running. Stop running. And if you're like me, that's like, oh, perfect, I don't have to run, right? But stop running. And so, like Brad said, I am our kids director here at Keystone. And so that means I hang out with our kindergarten through fifth graders on Sunday mornings. I'm upstairs with your siblings if you have younger siblings. And so I figured, why not, because I'm the kids director, why not do a little bit of what we do on Sunday mornings? So I actually brought some friends with me. No, our middle schoolers did not get smaller. These guys are in elementary school. You guys can come up. Come on up. Yeah, give them a round of applause. Come here. Come here. All right, so we got, you guys want to say your names? I didn't tell them we're doing this. They're going to not be happy. Okay, what's your name?
Tobin.
Okay, Tobin.
Addison. Grant.
Will. So these guys are going to help me out with our story tonight. You guys want to get the props ready for me? Why don't you get our props ready? They're right there. So these guys are going to help me with our story tonight, and our story is a pretty good one to act out, actually. It's the story of Jonah. And so many of you guys probably know the story of Jonah and the whale, right? It's not good. This guy gets swallowed by a whale. It's pretty crazy. And so these guys are going to help me tell the story tonight, though, a little bit. So you guys can bring that over here. Good job. Here, I got it. All right. It's like as big as you. All right. So we've practiced, okay, some like long, late nights of practice for this, guys. So this is going to be really good. Yes, shh, don't tell them that. All right. And so Grant is going to be, this is Grant. Grant is going to be our Jonah for today. And so our story is going to pick up in Jonah 1. And God says to Jonah, he says, Jonah, I need you to go to Nineveh and speak against the people. I need you to go there and kind of like set things straight, like help me out, right? And so Jonah, what does he do? He turns around, he goes the opposite direction. What's he? He's like, peace out, right? And so Jonah, he goes down to the dock and he pays his fare in the boat. Over here. Right? He hops in a boat and he literally is set off to go as far as possible away. I mean, he's trying to get as far away as possible, goes the complete opposite direction. So he hops on the boat goes out. All of a sudden, God sends a wind. And there's this huge storm, right? So there's like rain and these waves, and yeah, get them a little bit. Go get them over there especially. Make sure they're paying attention. Oh, Will, go get those guys over there. Make sure, make sure they're really paying attention. Yeah. right? They haven't showered in like 3 weeks anyways. They need it. All right, good job. Right, so this huge storm comes, and Jonah, where's Jonah? What's he doing, Grant? He's taking a nap. Right, so the sailors, they're like freaking out. They're like crying out to their gods. They're afraid. They're throwing things overboard because they're like, this ship is about to just like break apart, like Titanic 2.0. And so Jonah gets woken up. He's talking to a sailor, right? And these sailors, they find out that Jonah is running from God. And on top of it, they're like, wait, you worship like that God? Like, we've heard of some of the stuff he does. Like, he's pretty legit. And so they're afraid. And Jonah's like, yeah, you're right. This is my fault. Go ahead and throw me overboard. And so they throw him overboard. And this is where the whale comes in. A huge fish comes in and swallows him up. And so a huge fish comes and swallows Jonah up. And so we're going to pick up in Jonah 2. And so Jonah, he kind of starts to cry out to God, and he's praying. It's called Jonah's prayer, actually. And so he's saying things like, I cried out to the Lord in my great trouble, and he answered me. I called you from the land of the dead, and the Lord, you heard me. You threw me into the ocean depths, and I sank down to the heart of the sea. The mighty waters engulfed me. I was buried beneath your wild and stormy waves. It goes on to say, I sank beneath the waves, and the waters closed over me. Seaweed wrapped around my head. I sank down to the very roots of the mountains. I was imprisoned on the earth. It goes on and on and on. And it's, at the end, he says, my salvation comes from the Lord alone. Right? And then the Lord ordered the fish to spit Jonah out onto the beach. And so he spits him out into the beach, and it says, the Lord spoke to Jonah a second time. He said, go to the city of Nineveh and deliver the message I've given you. And so this time around it says that Jonah obeyed the Lord. And so give my friends here a round of applause. You guys did awesome. You guys can leave these here. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys. You guys can go grab a seat. Appreciate it, guys. All right. That was good. See, little shameless plug. See, it's really fun up in kids, so you guys should come serve with me. If you guys are looking somewhere to serve on Sunday mornings, come hang out with us. We're fun. So, right, this story, we've got Jonah. And God says, Jonah, I'm going to need you to go to Nineveh and talk to those people. And Jonah literally says, ooh, and he like turns and goes the opposite direction. It says to get away from the Lord. Hops on a boat, and he's trying to get like the farthest possible way that he can get. Jonah was running. God was so clear to Jonah about what he wanted him to do. I mean, it was clear as day. Go to Nineveh. Jonah heard him. He got it. And he just didn't listen, right? We talk about HBO here at Keystone. I know Brad talks about it all the time. Hear, believe, obey. He really missed the mark on that obey part. God, he was running from what God had commanded him to do. He was running from what God had commanded him to do. And so tonight, my question is, what are you running from? What has God called you to do that you are running in the complete opposite direction? What has God called you to do that you are running from? Maybe He's called you to have a relationship with Him. Right? He's called us to have a relationship with Him, to give your life to Him. And every time that opportunity comes up and you can feel God is calling you to act on something and you just ignore it and you go the opposite way. Maybe He's calling you to forgive someone and you just keep ignoring that person, keep just kind of like shrugging it off. Maybe He's called you to share the good news, share your story with your friends. Because, just so you guys know, we're all called to do that. Like the Great Commission, go and make disciples, right? And every time that opportunity comes up, you're like, I'm out of here. This is awkward. Right? And so what are you running from? Because when we run from God, all that comes is chaos. Chaos. And we hurt other people. We hurt ourselves. But the good news is that even even though when we're in the midst of that, like Jonah, he was like, I completely disobeyed God. I went the complete opposite way. But here's the awesome thing. Here's the good news, is God still met him where he was. And God still made it clear that he still had a plan for Jonah. And he said, go speak to Nineveh. And Jonah obeyed that time, right? Because God meets us where we are. You know, I hate running, like I said. Like, I avoid running. I will do any workout before I have to go on a run. I just hate it. But when I was in high school, I got really good at running from God. Like, I grew up in the church. I gave my life to Christ when I was younger. I was at church every single Sunday. I was at youth group every single week, just like you guys. I was on the student leadership team. I was on the worship team. I was serving in middle school. I mean, all of it, right? But all of a sudden, things started happening, and I just started running away from God. More and more, I started running away from God. I knew he had called me to all of those things, like I said, like sharing my story with my friends. I knew he had called me to walk away from the sins that I was living in. I knew he had called me to be a new person, to not live for these worldly things. And yet, I just kept walking in the opposite direction and doing exactly what he had called me not to do. So I started doing this. I was going through some things with my family, and I was choosing not to forgive people, and all of a sudden there was so much anger built up in me and bitterness, and I was hurting my family, and I was ruining my relationship with my parents and my brother, and I was ruining my relationship with my good friends at church. Things were starting to be affected. I got kicked off the student leadership team, kicked off the worship team. All of these things were not good things happening to me. And all of a sudden, I found myself in the middle of this storm, and I just felt just completely overwhelmed. Just like Jonah, I just felt like everything was just crashing on top of me. I just felt at this point like I was almost worthless in God's eyes. Like, he's not going to use me. I just felt angry and bitter towards people because I was holding in all of this unforgiveness. And all of these things were going on. And in those moments, it's so easy to feel like there's no way God's going to use me. God has just left me at the bottom of the ocean, and he does not care. But that's not true, guys. Because in those moments, God meets us. He meets us where we're at because he loves us, and he cares about us, and he still has a plan for us. And so I was in this moment, and I finally was just like, God, I don't know what to do anymore. I was starting to give up, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. And I finally just came to Jesus and just surrendered it to him. I decided to stop running away from him and actually start running towards him. And everything wasn't like perfect all of a sudden, but guys, there is just such freedom when we come to Jesus. And so what are you running from? I don't tell you guys this to be like, wow, look at her. Like, that's great. Like, good job. No, like, it's not like all, oh, good job, Tori. Like, that is how good our God is. That even in those times, he still meets us where we're at and loves us and uses us. And so what are you running from? And so, and kids, we always have like our main truth, right? And so I make them all repeat it after me. So you guys are going to do that tonight. You guys think you can do that? Help me out. All right, so that truth tonight is, I will not run from God. So we're going to do that on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I will not run from God. Right? And so what are you guys running from? And are you ready to stop running? Are you ready to stop running? Because when we're running from God, it doesn't feel too good. Right? And so maybe it is that you've been running from God and he's been calling you to give your life to him, to follow him, to have a relationship with him, and you just keep running from that. Maybe it is you need to forgive somebody, or maybe it is that you just are running from every opportunity to share your story, share the good news with your friends. Maybe you're just afraid. Maybe you're afraid of what people are going to think or afraid of what might happen. Guys, stop running from God and just come to him. Just come to him. Right? There's no like secret equation to this whole thing. Like you got to do this, this, and this. Just come to him. Just surrender to him. Stop running away from God and run towards him. So what might God be saying to me? And are you running from something now? Are you running from God? So I think we have another worship song. I'm quick, guys. Brad wasn't ready for me. But I want to encourage you guys during this time. Right? And maybe you guys already know, like, man, I've been running from this or whatever. But take this time right now. Ask God to reveal to you, what are you running from? What is it that you are running from right now? I know, it's distracting. I know. I would encourage you guys, just close your eyes right now. Right now. Just close your eyes, heads down. And just ask God to show you, what am I running from? What has God called you to? So clearly, he has told you to do something. And right now, you are just going in the complete opposite direction of what that is. Maybe it is give your life to him. And if that's the case, like, go find a leader. Stop running from that. Because when you choose to start running towards God, guys, there is so much freedom. That anxiety, that anger, that bitterness that is just consuming you, been there. All of a sudden, it can just be lifted when you just surrender to him and just come to Jesus. So whatever it is, I would encourage you guys to just ask God right now to reveal it to you. And stop running. Just come to him. Repent of those things that maybe you've just been disobedient to. Surrender them to him.